Welcome back to Raised by Giants Illuminated Insights series, a show where we're going to give you the facts and the research behind some of the most highly regarded modern day belief systems that are floating around the community today, with theories about extraterrestrial visitations, galactic extraterrestrial fleets landing and saving humanity from impending doom, predictions that never come true, and a lot of new age nonsense, Luciferians, evil extraterrestrials messing with humanity, trying to trick us, supposed advanced technology like time travel, channeling, telepathy, psychic communication, and cloning, and the coming of a new age into the next evolutionary level above human. And I have a really in-depth show here today for you guys. The cult that we're going to be examining today in this episode of UFO Doomsday Cults Series Part 4 is the Order of the Solar Temple. And wow, does this one go deep? You're going to be shocked. It ties into the occult, the Knights Templar. It's wild. You're really going to enjoy it. If you haven't checked out episodes 1 through 3, I highly recommend it. I actually made a playlist of those videos so you can watch the previous episodes easily. Welcome everyone in the chat. Good to see everyone here today. How's it going? Noble Truth, Fireflies, Alex, Polar Origins, Savage. Really good to see you guys. Thanks for being here with me. So on part 3, we covered the Heaven's Gate cult with Marshall Applewhite and Bonnie Nettles, known as T and Doe. We discovered that they went around the U.S. before they started their cult in 1974 and visited all these spiritual centers, visited gurus and New Age groups in order to figure out how to structure their own belief systems and theology later in their cult. We found out that their central belief of the group was that their followers could transform themselves into immortal extraterrestrial beings and ascend into heaven and be picked up by a UFO ships and taken to the next level, the next evolutionary level above human, which later they switched their beliefs when Bonnie Nettles here got diagnosed with brain cancer in 1974 and died in 1975. When she didn't leave in the intergalactic spaceship to the next level, right? Because she was a prophet. Marshall Applewhite decided to switch up his doctrine to explain why she didn't ascend into the extraterrestrial spaceship, right? He switched up his beliefs and turned it into consciousness, right? That the members of the cult were just in a vehicle and a container, and that the only way that you can get into the next level, the next evolutionary level above human, is shedding your human container, right? Which that makes a lot of sense, right? You have to be androgynous too, right? Give up all worldly possessions, and if you want to know who the beings from the next level are and how to identify them, well, you'll know because of how well your life is going, right? The beings in the next level, they hate this reality and would never want you to do well here. So if you're receiving good fortune from God, that's not really God, right? That's the Luciferians that's impersonating God. The Heaven's Gate, it was really wild. If you guys really want to know more information on the Heaven's Gate, please check out part 3 of this series. So today we're going to get into a cult that was very similar to the Heaven's Gate cult in the way of how they both ended, and a few other ways that you're going to see. And this cult, like I mentioned, is called the Order of the Solar Temple. This cult was a religious sect that claims to be based upon the Knights Templar and was founded by Joseph DeMambro and Luc Jouret in 1984. And unlike other cults we talked about here so far, this one was from Geneva, Switzerland, which ended in tragedy, just like the Heaven's Gate cult. But to understand exactly what happened, we have to go back to how the Order of the Solar Temple came to be. And we start here with Luc Jouret. He was born in 1947 in the Belgium Congo. After graduating high school, Luc attended the Free University of Brussels and achieved a medical degree in 1974. Then 2 years later, in 1976, he joins the Belgium Army and became a paratrooper. Dang, Luke, you're a doctor and you just want to become a paratrooper. Did your parents make you go to college, dude? I'm pretty sure his parents made him go to college. I mean, tell us your parents didn't make you go to college without telling us your parents made you go to college, right? So after a few years of being a paratrooper, he left the Belgium army and opened a medical practice in France, which he specialized in alternative medicine. Which, hey, going against the grain here. How do you rebel against your parents now, right? You just left the army. Paratrooping wasn't working out. You got a medical degree. You're a doctor. Huh. I know what I'll be. I'll be a alternative doctor. Heck yes, right? Rebel Luke. Rebelling against his parents. Yep. So Rebel Luke travels the world and spends his time trying to learn different practices for his alternative medicine healing, homeopathic medicine. He ended up getting certified as a homeopathic medicine practitioner, which cool, right? He spent a lot of his time in the Philippines learning about psychic healing and energy work. He went to China, Peru, India, and by the late 90s, he had landed back in France and wanted to settle down. He got married, and after a year, he was excited to bring a new baby into the world and start a family, but the baby didn't make it and died soon after it was born, and him and his wife got divorced. And guess what happens with these guys, with these cult leaders after a divorce, right? So by the time Luke decided, he decided to pack his things up and go back out on the circuit, baby. That's right. This is a picture of him at one of his conferences. Right, and he started to get a pretty good reputation during his traveling. He started to become really popular with the alternative medicine world at the time. He was attending conferences in France and in Canada. He joined the Golden Way Foundation in Switzerland, which was an occult group, and he began holding these conferences and became one of their main speakers. And it was during one of these conferences that he found the co-founder of the Order of the Solar Temple group, Joseph DeMambro, right? If he isn't giving you George Jones vibes, I don't know who would, right? Those glasses, giving all those George Jones vibes. So DeMambro, he was born in 1924 in France. He went to Catholic school, and guess what he loved to do? Just like Charles Manson, just like Bo from the Heaven's Gate, just like Jim Jones, just like David Koresh, just like Rael here from the Raelian cult. DeMambro was a musician. How many? Add another cult leader to the musician category, right? What are the odds, right? With Joseph DeMambro here. Now, he was a little different. He wasn't a singer like the others, right? But he loved playing the violin, and that qualifies him as a musician. The violin was this man's passion, all right? He loved to make sweet love to that violin, right? You got to know exactly the right way to touch a violin to make it sing, okay? DeMambro knew exactly how to do it. And I'm not joking either. I mean, shoot, the violin is a very difficult instrument to play. I tried to play it one time and it is very hard, right? Just like DeMambro would get when he was playing his violin. But by the time DeMambro was 16 years old, World War II had started and basically ruined his musical career and any chances at a academic career as well. He was apparently a really good student and he was forced to get a job and started work as a clockmaker in a jewelry shop, right? In 1944, DeMambro married a girl from his hometown and she was also a musician. Man, what are the chances? So they had a son named Bernard, and Bernard would later become a famous French actor, right? But DeMambro here, he had a family, he had a son, but that wasn't enough for him, right? He wasn't feeling fulfilled. He was missing something. The quiet life just wasn't working out for DeMambro. And he always had an interest in the occult. So in 1956, he joined the ancient mystical order of the Rosicrucians, right? And it's theorized that DeMambro, his interest in the occult stemmed from daddy issues, right? Because his dad supposedly abandoned him at the end of the war. We don't know if his dad fought in the war or not, but this is a perfect recipe here for a fantastic cult leader, right? Daddy issues, musician, his partner in the cult recently getting a divorce. Perfect mixture. Kind of sounds like the Powerpuff Girls. How does that Powerpuff Girls theme song go? Sugar and spice and everything nice or something like that. Well, with these cults, it's not like that. It's musician, mommy, daddy issues, prophets, and suicide. None of that rhymes, but you get the point. Let's check in with the chat. How's everybody doing? Lakeside Laura, good to see you. Scotty Boy, what's happening? Rebecca, What the Flock TV, Paul, good to see you. Sixth Sense, how's it going, my friend? Fireflies, how's it going? Lakeside Laura, yeah, a lot of SSP are musicians too. Yep. It's just a coincidence, though. Lakeside Laura. So now we're getting into the bulk of this story. So strap in, right? So in the late 1960s, DeMambro here became the head of his own faction of the Rosicrucian occult group in France. And he stayed there until 1970. DeMambro then gave up on this occult group and decided to become a full-time lecturer for the New Age movement. Right? So in 1973, DeMambro started his own cult called the Center for the Preparation, which you can just guess based off of the name Center for the Preparation what it was about, right? It was a New Age movement preparing the followers and the members of the cult for the New Age, which sounds very, very similar to the old Heaven's Gate cult here. I'm not saying nothing, right? The central belief of the Center for the Preparation cult was that the universe was going to transform and that the members of the Center for the Preparation were going to be the first people that would be accepted into this new world. Again, almost identical to what the Heaven's Gate cult members believed as well. So the followers of the Center for the Preparation would spend all of their time preparing their bodies and their souls to inhabit this new world. So by the time 1976 rolls around, DeMambro here had become known in the occult and New Age scene in Europe, having ran 2 separate cult sects. So this is where DeMambro starts going the direction of all the other cult leaders, like Bo from the Heaven's Gate cult, saying that he was the reincarnation of Jesus. David Koresh and the Branch Davidians saying that he was a prophet. Rael from the Raelian cult saying that he was the last of 39 prophets of the Elohim. The Mambro here started claiming that he was a part of this group of beings that were perfected humans, placed here and sent to guide the evolutionary level of humans, right, by an extraterrestrial race called the Great White Brotherhood, right? Great White Brotherhood. How many times have we heard the Great White Brotherhood in this community? And he claimed to be, this guy DeMambro claimed to be the incarnation of multiple important historical figures, like a lot of the people do in this community today, right? How many people over the years have we heard claim that they were the incarnation of Isis, Mother Mary? What's that one guy's name? Solomon, King Solomon. But the Mambro here claims that he was the reincarnation of Moses and the Egyptian pharaoh Akhenaten, right? Why are these people always so important figures in past lives, right? You're telling me nobody was a blacksmith or a builder back in those days, a shoemaker or a craftsman? Why doesn't anybody talk about those things in past lives? I'll tell you why. Because it's made up. And you have to seem important if you're going to run a super duper ultra mega cult, okay? You can't just be a peasant in the street. You have to be someone important, like Moses or the Egyptian pharaoh Akhenaten, or else no one's going to believe your made up stories, right? So in 1981, Luc Jouret, who at this point had become a grand master of his cult, the renowned Order of the Temple, and he apparently left that cult over a dispute. And by this time, Luke and DeMambro, they had been acquainted with each other already from the conferences and the other cults that they were running separate to this, right? And DeMambro here convinced Luc Jouret to combine their efforts, combine their energies, right, to create a new cult. And that cult was called the Order of the Solar Temple. And this cult was a very elitist cult. It's actually very difficult to find a lot of information surrounding their belief systems because they regarded themselves in like high secrecy, right? And they were very selective over who was able to join the group and be a part of their secretive teachings. And the reason that Luke and DeMambro was so selective is because now Luke and DeMambro started claiming that they were the heirs of the Knights of the Templar that guarded the Holy Grail. Dang, it is switcheroo time. No longer the incarnation of Moses or Akhenaten. Now we are the heirs of the Knights of Templar that guarded the Holy Grail. Whoop! Give us all your money, baby. It's switcheroo time. It is Switcheroo time. Hit them with the switcheroo. Are your cult members not following orders? Are they starting to have a mind of their own? Hit them with the switcheroo. Tell them that higher beings have a new mission for them. Tell them that they are the incarnation of famous historical figures. Tell them about the new revelations that only you know about, given directly to you from the higher beings. Tell them anything but the truth. Hit them with the switcheroo. That's right, baby. Hit them with the switcheroo. Sixth Sense, how's it going, my friend? Oh, yes, the well-known Knights of Templar. Yeah, I didn't really want to get too much into the Knights of Templar because this video would be forever. I kind of just wanted to, focus on their beliefs surrounding the cult. Sixth Sense, very good. Thank you, sir. Yes. Nemesis, yeah. Did you like that bumper there? I made it yesterday. Thought it was pretty good too. Awesome. So, what Luke and DeMambro did here was they had a great idea, right? They said, let's only accept people into our cult that have a lot of money, right? We'll make them start filling out a form stating their annual income. That way we'll know and they can give us large donations, right? So that we can build cult centers internationally. We'll put one in Canada, right? We'll put one in Switzerland. We'll put one in France. Every country gets an order of the Solar Temple. Good plan, DeMambro. But what they did is they disguised this under the super secret reasoning that they were all descendants of the Knights of Templar, right? And we'll have, and that we have super ultra mega secret knowledge that only a select few get to hear. And this select few, meaning they have a lot of money. Boom. Great plan. Let's do it. So Luke here, he was pretty much the public face of the cult, doing all the recruitment, going around doing all the conferences and recruiting people into this cult. Very charismatic gentleman. DeMambro here, he was in charge of handling finances, doing the rituals of the group, and all this cult stuff, which we're going to get into soon. It turns out that DeMambro, he was doing a lot of smoke and mirrors with his rituals, right? But we're going to get into that soon. So the Order of the Solar Temple became a hybrid cult, they mixed religion, holistic medicine, the occult, Golden Way theology, Masonic, and UFO extraterrestrial belief systems into this new age cult philosophy. They mixed in astrology, all wrapped up into one. And they also believed that Jesus was a solar god king and would be coming back to Earth once it was ready for him, right? It's a cult burrito, right? Not the conspiracy burrito that I talk about. Now we're talking about cult burritos, right? But now that I think about it, cult burritos seem a lot like conspiracy burritos, right? They all have the same elements, just packaged differently. Y'all ever notice that? Y'all ever notice that the conspiracy burritos are almost identical to the cult burritos? So when someone were to join the Order of the Solar Temple, they had special access to different books to read and study material. They had to go through and a super ultra mega secret initiation process. And the initiation was filmed for the followers. So much for super secret, right? When you film it, that's kind of counterproductive. And I actually have a clip here for you guys. The ritual and the initiation videos are very difficult to find. but I put together what I could, and just for fair use. Disclaimer: under Section 107 of the Copyright Act, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. And that is what we're going to be doing here today. We're going to be commenting on the Order of the Solar Temples, rituals, and initiation practices. Hold up, let me get this bad boy on here. So this is the start of one of their initiation process, right? And these rituals were very selective and secretive. No one was allowed to know the real information besides a group of the 33 inner circle members that had been appointed by Demambro and Luke, right? And there were guards that were placed outside of the doors while the rituals and initiations were going on. And during these rituals and initiations, Demambro here, he would claim that he was a member of this group of higher extraterrestrial beings, and that he was the receiver and the transmitter of these divine messages. Yes, you have to say that you're the only one that can receive or reveal the information to the followers. If you're not, then why are they even following you, right? So he would also tell his members during their initiations and rituals that they were the incarnations of very important people from history. They would also apparently see higher beings during the rituals, right? A ghostly apparition would appear before them to solidify their belief in these higher beings, and ultimately the belief in Demambro's and Luke's teachings, right? And also with these initiations and these rituals, the Demambro and Luke were also saying that they were getting ready to pass into a new age, and that they're going to be transformed into a higher level, a new earth, a golden age of humanity. Now, don't get this confused with the Heaven's Gate cult, right? We're talking about something different here. This isn't the Heaven's Gate cult. This is the Order of the Solar Temple. Don't get it confused by what we covered last week, right? This is a different cult. Very similar in ideologies, but it's not, right? It's a different cult. But these guys, Luke and Demambro, were able to convince their followers that they were light beings that have been reincarnated on Earth with a very special mission to fulfill, right? And many of the members of the Order of the Solar Temple really did believe that they were a part of something special and something way bigger than themselves. Yes, yes. So that was a little bit of their ceremonies and their initiation process. Here's a few other pictures of Demambro and doing his initiations. Here's another one. Right, so how's the chat going? How's everyone feeling? How's it looking out there? No bull truth. I remember my mission, rid the world of cults. Yep. Experimental Elemental. How's it going? Paul, good to see you, brother. All good in the hood. I love it. So in 1982, Demambro had a child with one of the cult members. Right here. That's his child. Boom. That's his lady lover. That was a part of the cult. And it's important to mention that DeMambro was 58 years old at the time that he had this child. And the name of the child was Emanuela. And he believed that his daughter, Emanuela here, boom, boom, was a divine gift from a higher being. I mean, who doesn't think that their child is a divine gift, right? Childbirth is nothing short of a miracle. But DeMambro here, he took it a step further, right? He put this all over the edge. He started claiming that she was a cosmic being, right? That would lead in the new coming age. That she was a higher being incarnated on earth. And the cult members believed this because they also believed that Emanuela was conceived through immaculate conception. That this baby girl was the next coming of Christ. But wait, I thought DeMambro was the one. Right? What's he going to do? What is he going to do? He's the prophet, not his daughter, right? There can't be two prophets. What do now, right? So DeMambro here decided to, since his daughter was a cosmic being sent from the heavens to guide humanity into this new age, any children at all that he had with anyone else in the cult would also be cosmic beings sent to guide humanity into this new age, right? Or even anyone at all that would have children in this cult would also have higher beings, right? That would help assist his daughter, the head of this cosmic higher beings from heaven in the new age of humanity, right? Another switcheroo. This dude, DeMambro, was hitting everybody with the switcheroos all the time, every time. Hit them with the switcheroo. Are your cult members not following orders? Are they starting to have a mind of their own? Hit them with the switcheroo. Tell them that higher beings have a new mission for them. Tell them that they are the incarnation of famous historical figures. Tell them about the new revelations that only you know about, given directly to you from the higher beings. Tell them anything but the truth. Hit them with the switcheroo. Yeah, polar origins. Always had a feeling I was a blacksmith in a past life, not Carl Wheeler worthy, I guess. Nope, you are not, my friend. You can't be a peasant in these cults. Okay, you got to be important. You got to be the incarnation of Moses and Akhenaten, Isis, Osiris. Right? The Sixth Sense. Wilcox suggested he was, by an alien being. What a tune. Yes, he did. He also tells people that to bathe in their own urine, to contact Archangel Michael. Paul Joe. The story reminds me of Jack and the Beanstalk for some reason. Yep, and we have just gotten started. So with the cult believing that they were perfected humans that were meant to guide humanity, stacked with high class to upper middle class followers that could give DeMambro and Luke lots of money. They had amassed over 1,000 followers in Canada, Switzerland, and France, with their headquarters in Geneva. So they formed a new level of management, a council, if you will, and get this, of 33 members, right, to oversee their operations for their international cult sects. So there was a lot of confusion in the cult within the sects. DeMambro and Luke were always butting heads back and forth. The cracks in the future of the cult were starting to show. So during these ceremonies that I just showed you clips of, DeMambro would lead, the members of the cult would see a smoky apparition of these higher beings that Demambro would summon with his otherworldly powers, right? And Demambro would always be the only one to receive these higher messages from these higher beings. He's the only one that can disseminate the information to the other cult leader, the cult members, right? And these messages would dictate how the cult would operate on a daily basis, like a day-to-day basis, right? Don't like what the members are doing today? It's time for a ceremony, right? We're running out of money. It's time for a ceremony, baby. You're just pulling the switcheroo on these people all the time. The higher beings want you to give us more money. Yes, give us more money, cult members. The higher beings are highly interested in the human monetary system. Don't question the higher beings' wants and needs. Just get out your checkbooks, all right? So by the early 90s with Luke and Demambro, let me grab the little picture here, promising that these higher beings were going to reveal themselves several times over and over again over the years, and it never happening. Controversy was brewing, right? The members were growing tired of the empty promises, as any logical person would, right? And they started challenging their authority and demanding answers. Many of the members were wanting to know where their money was going. It was going to hookers and blow, guys. Come on. You don't want more little cosmic beings running around here? How many cosmic beings will it take us to bring us into the new age? I don't know, but we don't have enough. That was an obvious joke. They weren't spending it on hookers and blow that I'm aware of, but they also weren't starting up new cult centers either, and membership wasn't growing. But yet they were still asking for more money from the cult members. So even Demambro's daughter, Emanuela, that we spoke of earlier, that was a quote unquote higher being sent to guide humanity into this new age, which by this point, she was a teenager. She also started questioning Demambro, her father, and the entire order of the Solar Temple, and questioning the existence of these higher beings that Demambro and Luke have been saying are going to show up anytime now. For years and years, they've been saying that they're going to show up. Right? And even the teenager, Demambro's daughter, is smartening up to the cult. Good on you, Emanuela. Good on you, girl. So Emanuela, she exposed Demambro's smoke and mirrors during his rituals, right? Behind the ceremonies and rituals that he would conduct in his initiations, right? That he was using smoke and mirrors to convince these initiates and these people that were a part of these ceremonies that the higher beings were pleased. He was using a projector and a smoke machine and holographic imagery to create a ghostly apparition of these higher beings that he was supposedly in contact with, which turned out to be a bunch of fakery. And I actually have a video of one of the followers that left the cult before the tragedy, and how he felt when he found out about the fakery that was going on surrounding the solar order of the Solar Temple initiations and rituals.
Perçu pendant des années, mais que j'avais
Everything that I had wondered about for years, but suppressed saying. I didn't want to believe it.
pas bien, c'est mon esprit qui n'est pas bon.
And when I found out it was all false, it all came back up like a bubble to the surface of water. I wanted to kill myself. I really did want to kill myself. I just couldn't bear it anymore.
Yep. So, hey, with these, with the smoke and mirrors, the Mambo smoke and mirrors, and fake apparitions of the higher beings appearing to the members during their initiations and rituals, right? He had to pull the old switcheroo, right? It is back to switcheroo time, baby. Hit them with the switcheroo. Are your cult members not following orders? Are they starting to have a mind of their own? Hit them with the switcheroo. Tell them that higher beings have a new mission for them. Tell them that they are the incarnation of famous historical figures. Tell them about the new revelations that only you know about, given directly to you from the higher beings. Tell them anything but the truth. Hit them with the switcheroo. So he started saying that all the cult members were the reincarnations of saints, right? And this seemed to keep the members on the hook, just like what happened with the Heaven's Gate called and Bo and T whenever they made all of their promises that extraterrestrial ships were going to land and ascend them into the next level, human evolutionary level. That's how they kept them on the hook for a really long time, was saying that the spaceships, the intergalactic fleet, was going to be landing at any moment. It can be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be next week, it could be next month or next year. We just don't know, but they are coming. That's how they kept them on the hook for 20 years. Right, and that's what the Mambro here is also doing. He's just doing it in a different way. He's saying that, whenever he got caught creating these fake apparitions, these smoky apparitions that his daughter caught him up on, he just doubled down on the whole cosmic being incarnation, that all of his members were incarnations of very prominent historical figures. Just like how the Heaven's Gate cult did it as well. Bo said that all the members of the Heaven's Gate cult were all incarnations of Jesus's disciples, which kept them on the hook as well. So with this new promise that the members were the reincarnation of saints, very important historical figures, and the promise of a new age, and that these higher beings were going to reveal themselves, and nothing had happened, this caused a lot of the members to lose patience, right? One of the members even filed a lawsuit against the cult after leaving a couple of months prior. And with Luke being arrested in Canada several times for trying to purchase illegal firearms, which I don't really want to get into it too much, but it really seemed like from the research that I'd done that someone was trying to set them up, sort of like they did at Ruby Ridge, right? An informant, an undercover cop, went to Luke and asked him if he could find like a weapon with a silencer on it. And then he didn't know anybody that had a weapon with a silencer on it. So he started asking around to other people till eventually he got to an informant that got him caught up for trying to purchase illegal weapons, which it's pretty interesting. I might mention it here a little later. But things were really starting to fall apart, and we know what happens when things start to fall apart and people start to leave the cult, right? When the switcheroos don't happen, it's time to completely rebrand, baby. It's rebranding time. Is your cult having money problems? It's rebranding time. Is your cult following figuring out that your fake made-up stories are fake made-up stories? It's rebranding time. Yes, nothing like a good rebranding to re-energize the cult mission and get everything back on track. So by 1992, with all the members really doubting the existence of these higher beings, with failed predictions, failed promises of extraterrestrial intervention and the coming of this new age, and Demambro's health deteriorating, it turns out that he was actually diagnosed with cancer, and he hid it from the cult for a really long time. Just like Bonnie Nettles from the Heaven's Gate cult was diagnosed with brain cancer and died in 1985. So with everything crumbling around Luke and Demambro, they had to figure something out. They had to figure it out, get things back on track here. Let's bring the cult back together, get everybody on the same page again, right? Let's be a team again. We can't have people leaving the cult. We can't have them figuring out our fake made up nonsense, because that means less money for hookers and blow, right? And we need hookers and blow. Okay. So they decided to start preparing their members for the final transition to join the higher beings in another world. And you know what that means, right? You listened to last week's episode on UFO Doomsday Cult Heaven's Gate, right? So it was rebranding time, no longer a physical new age, but a spiritual new age. It's a consciousness new age. How's it going in the chat? How's everyone rocking over here? Sixth Sense. It's probably the case that they were afraid to leave, knowing what might happen to them. Yeah, and it also turns out that apparently they were highly surveilled. Demambro was talking about how the police in Switzerland was like always at their watching their every move, and that they were being harassed by the police, which I think is very interesting. No bull truth. There is only so much cult sandwich I can eat in a week. Balance is key. Well, get more cult sandwich today, brother. There's never enough cult sandwiches, all right? It's important for people to know. Firefly is easy to sell the spiritual sauce. That is right. Absolutely. Very easy to transition from physical theology to spiritual theology when you're getting caught up in your nonsense. So Luke and Demambro decided to pick a few of the ultra mega awesome members of the cult. Right? All right, I just got two pictures of them there. Boom. They choose specific members from the cult that they thought would be most welcome in this new world, right? This new transitional period. The ones that the higher beings were most pleased with, probably the ones with the most money, right? And told them what rituals and practices they needed to do to prepare for the transition into this new world. And while they were practicing and doing their rituals, the other members were preparing to get revenge on former cult members, right? There were for people that left the group, they wanted to get revenge on them because before they went into this transitional period into the new age. Right, so they showed up at the Dutoit family's house. The Dutoit family were former cult members of the Solar Temple cult. They had a newborn 3-month-old baby named Christopher Emmanuel Dutoit. And Demambro took great offense to this and forbid them to have the child in the cult because it wasn't what the higher beings wanted. and that the Dutoit family was trying to usurp the position he had ordained for his child as the cosmic being and the cosmic master, because his daughter was named Emmanuela, and the Dutoit family named their child Emmanuel. Very petty on de Mambro's part. But the Dutoit family left the cult, and de Mambro basically labeled this 3-month-old baby Christopher as the Antichrist. Right? He believed that the Antichrist was born into the order to prevent him from ascension into this new age of humanity. Not because he made everything up, right? But because of the Antichrist, right? You know the reason why the higher beings hasn't shown up yet? It's because of the Antichrist. He's been born here into the cult to destroy us. Classic switcheroo. Cognitive dissonance, right? Just making up stuff to explain away other things, right? So this is where tragedy strikes. Members of the cult showed up to the Dutoit family's house and killed the family and their 3-month-old baby boy in Morin Heights, Quebec in 1994. And reportedly stabbed them to death with a wooden stake. Now, others say a knife, but either one is just as brutal, right? Like a stabbing is very personal. It's a very personal thing to stab someone to death, right? And later their house was set on fire. The police were really struggling to figure out how and why this happened until later, which this murder kicked off a huge chain of mass murder suicides. So on the 5th of October, 1994, 23 people were found dead in a burning building in Switzerland. 18 of these bodies were found arranged in a circle pattern. All wearing ceremonial robes. The 18 were shown to be given a tranquilizer before being shot and arranged in a circle pattern. And then an hour later, less than a mile away, another mass murder suicide took place, where 25 more bodies were discovered in 2 burning buildings with the exact same conditions, drugged and shot. It was discovered that after de Mambro performed a last ritual supper, he had convinced their followers that a huge natural disaster was going to happen and that the higher beings were coming to take them to the Sirius star system. See, out of the 52 people that had died, only 15 people were suicides. So only 15 people knew what was going to happen. The rest thought that they were going to prepare for the transition, not actually participating in the transition in Switzerland. Many of the victims were found in a secret underground chapel lined with mirrors and other items of Templar symbolism. Most were found with plastic bags tied over their heads, and they had been shot in the head. So the tragedy was only discovered when officers rushed to the sites to fight the fires and later had been determined to be ignited by remote control devices, right? And there's a lot of discrepancies with that because apparently the authorities received several letters from the Order of the Solar Temple before the fires were set and should have given fair warning to what was going to happen, but they just ignored it, right? But that's a whole other thing. So farewell letters were left by the believers that stated that they believed that they were leaving to escape the hypocrisies and the obsession of the world, very similar to the Heaven's Gate cult as well. And records that were salvaged by the police from the burning building showed that some members had personally donated over $1 million to DeMambro. Dude was making a killing, right? And they thought that this whole thing was over with the two buildings that have been caught on fire and the people that had committed suicide and the ones that had been murdered, shot in the head. But if that wasn't tragic enough, there's more. Another mass death incident took place during the night between the 15th and the 16th of December of 1995. On the 23rd of December 1995, 16 bodies were discovered in a star formation in the mountains of France. Right? Then they were convinced that the whole thing was over, that there wasn't going to be any more suicides or deaths or murders. But one of the former cult members actually said that there was going to be, but the police didn't listen. Right? A lot of the investigation into this was highly botched. Right? Among, doing a little research into it, it's clear that it was highly botched. They didn't know what they were doing, right? And so on the morning of the March 23rd, 1997, 5 members of the Order of the Solar Temple took their own lives in St. Casimir, Quebec. Another small house erupted in flames, leaving behind 5 charred bodies, 3 teenagers ages 13 and 14 and 16. The children of one of the couples that died in the fire were discovered in a shed behind the house. A few of them were alive, but heavily drugged. So Mitchell Turbinek, a Swiss musician and conductor, he was then arrested because, they didn't have anybody to arrest because DeMambro and Luke had died. They had committed suicide in the Solar Order temples in Switzerland, right? They died along with their followers. So the police was really struggling to find someone to charge with the participation in the murder-suicides, in the mass murder-suicides. So the Swiss musician and conductor, he was arrested as the leader of the Solar Temple in the late 1990s. He was indicted for the participation in a criminal organization and the murder, right? He came to trial in France during the spring of 2001, and he was acquitted. French prosecutors appealed and ordered a second trial beginning in October of 2006. He was again cleared less than a few months later in December of 2006. It's a very strange case, and as far as we know, there's no more Solar Temple sects around. But this one really gives me Ruby Ridge and Waco vibes, right? I mentioned it a little earlier, and I wanted to cover their belief systems and not focus on this too much. But if you study this event, you will again start to see how botched this investigation was by the police. They didn't seal off any of the buildings for reportedly a week afterwards. DeMambro was telling his followers that they were being watched by the authorities. There was a letter sent that stated how everywhere the cult went, they were being harassed by authorities above what was bearable. It really sounded like they were trying to set them up in Canada as being illegal gun traffickers, exactly what they did to Randy Weaver in the Ruby Ridge. And it's also been stated that the weapon that they found at the scene outside of the burning buildings only held one bullet at a time, right? You had to reload the gun every time you shot it. And that was the gun used to shoot all the people in the head. And people have speculated how that would have happened. It would have taken, some people have speculated, 30 to 40 minutes to shoot all those people in the head. But I guess it would be really easy if they were all passed out from drugs, because it was reported that all of them, the 2 places in Switzerland, the places in Canada, all of the members were drugged and they were like really drowsy. So I guess it would be pretty easy to kill them if they were passed out, right? It was just a very interesting rabbit hole to go down, and I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. And that was the history and the background on the Order of the Solar Temple. How's everyone doing in the chat? How's it hanging? Polar origin massively suspicious from many angles. Yes, it really was. Really suspicious. Really interesting rabbit hole. I had to do a lot of research, a lot of time, and a lot of effort. This is one of the pictures. I don't know if you guys can see it really well. I should probably just pull it up on the screen. But this is how the bodies were laid out in the buildings. It's a recreation drawing. So yeah, very suspicious. Experimental elemental. Thanks, Ryder. Fireflies. That was fantastic, Ryder. Paul Joe. Can anyone say entrapment of the mind? Yes. GG. Good to see you, GG. Thanks for being here. Sixth Sense, as an agnostic, I can't see myself getting caught up in such craziness. If people are dying, that should tell you something right away. Yes, sir. Yes, it really does. And that's the whole point of doing this show, is to show people that, where these thoughts and these ideas and these belief systems really come from. Sounds familiar. Yes, it does, Paul Joe. Sounds almost identical to the Heaven's Gate cult that I covered last week. Though the Heaven's Gate cult did start before the Order of the Solar Temple, but the founders were around before the Heaven's Gate cult. It's just interesting how they all borrow off of each other. Rebecca, I totally appreciate you breaking down these cults down, looking at behaviors and patterns. Yes, it's really interesting. And I'm going to be getting into the Unarius Academy next week. It's another really interesting cult in California. Yeah, it is. See, that's the thing. You don't really know if these people actually believed what their leaders were telling them to believe. But from studying the Heaven's Gate cult, I 100% believe that they believed it with their entire hearts, their entire souls, and everything that their entire being. I know that they believe that because they volunteered for the transition process, right? Now, the Order of the Solar Temple, not so much. They didn't really, only 15 members of those people knew what was going on. The rest of them didn't know that they were going to quote unquote transition into a new reality, right? Into Sirius. Got to transition into the Sirius star system. Yes, there is a lot of cults to cover. We're going to break them down. Break them down, down, down. All right, guys. Thanks so much for being here. If you haven't checked out my documentary that I made with Jay Widener, JFKX, Solving the Crime of the Century, please do. It is on Amazon Prime for $1.99 to rent and $4.99 to buy. I'm going to drop the link in the chat right here. And thank you guys so much for being here. Really appreciate all your time. And please share this video out. Fireflies, yeah, just tell people to look inwardly. That's exactly right. You don't need someone to tell you what to believe. Please share this video out. Thank you guys so much. And I might be doing an interview on Sunday with Maureen Seberg. I've been kind of stepping away from doing interviews recently, and I might do one with her. So be on the lookout for Sunday, and then I will be back next week with Unarius Academy Cult. Thank you guys so much. Please hit the thumbs up button to help the channel in the algorithm. Share, subscribe, hit the bell icon as well. And we'll see you guys next week. Thanks so much.